Hi, this is Lee Zeldin. Thanks for joining our Tele-Town Hall tonight. Anyone has any questions, just hit *3. We'll be able to bring you on. I'm a state senator representing the 3rd Senate District, which is in Brookhaven and Islip, running to be your next congressman. We have a Republican primary coming up on June 24th. We just filed our petitions today, over 6,600 at the Board of Elections, so we'll definitely be on the ballot in June, and hopefully you consider supporting us. So during this call, it's an opportunity for you to learn a little bit more about me, to ask any questions that are of concern to you. Just hit *3 and we'll be able to bring you on. First off, I just want to start with a little bit of my background. I'm an Army major in the reserves. I went on active duty in 2003, was at Fort Bragg as a paratrooper with the 82nd Airborne Division. Spent some time in Iraq. I'm in the reserves still today. Actually just had drill this past weekend. I'm in the state senate, elected in 2010. So when I campaigned in 2010, there were some issues that we were campaigning on then, and I made a commitment to work as hard as I could to fight for example, repealing the MTA payroll tax, eliminating the saltwater fishing license fee, securing funding for our veterans with post-traumatic stress disorder, and some other stuff as well. And I'm really proud that a lot of the stuff that I campaigned on when I first ran for office, we've had a lot of success in getting accomplished. We repealed the MTA payroll tax for about 80% of employers on Long Island. That's about 34,000 employers just in Suffolk. We eliminated the saltwater fishing license fee. We created the PFC Joseph Dwyer program for our veterans of post-traumatic stress disorder and traumatic brain injury. I wrote the bill to protect our military families from protests at military burials. And I also introduced legislation not too long ago to stop Common Core for 3 years, stop Common Core and its associated testing. So we've been working hard up in the Senate, and there's a lot down in Washington that needs our attention. That's why we're running. And again, if anyone has any questions, just hit *3. And we will be able to bring you on. And our first caller is Buddy. Buddy?
Yes, how you doing?
Doing well. How are you?
Pretty good so far.
All right. What's your question tonight? Thanks for joining the call.
All right. I was watching the TV the other night, and it showed the conservative leader, for CMOS, I guess, that was against what he was saying as far as you voting for Obamacare. And I understood it, and I've sent you an email or your people an email that you got to get on Facebook. You got to get your thing up there more. There's 90, thousands of people that watch that, and in this area also. But my question is it true that CMOS is being backed by his father-in-law with over $2 million of Democratic money, who's a Democratic big sponsor in Seattle? Is this true?
That's actually,
and you haven't made that clear.
Yeah, it's in California. I've actually, it's an interesting point. I mean, it's been well reported. Newsday actually did a story a few weeks ago on it. Long Island Business News last week, there was a column by George Marlin about it. I've been focused on, trying to talk about issues, stuff that I care about. It's important that it does get out there. The word of mouth, the fact of the matter is, yes, our primary opponent, almost 100% of his funding is from California Democrats. The Washington Free Beacon, if you go to freebeacon.com and you search our opponent's last name, you'll see a little bit of the story there. So his father-in-law is a guy named Angelo Sakopoulos, who is Paul Pelosi's business partner. That is how our primary opponent, who hasn't had a job since 2010, all of a sudden is a multimillionaire. That's where it came from. So it's starting to come out in the news, which is good. The one thing that's very important for me is that we're able to continue to talk about the issues that matter to folks in the 1st Congressional District. So it's it might be a little bit of a distraction, but it's something that definitely has to get addressed. And any help. For anyone here on the call, anyone talking to their friends, neighbors, it certainly would be a good assist just to let folks know exactly where all this funding is coming from. It's a Republican primary, And our Republican primary opponent is almost entirely funding his campaign with California Democratic money, which is it's bizarre, but we're working through it. And again, anyone has any questions? Thank you, by the way, buddy, for your call. Any questions tonight? Just hit *3, and we'll be able to bring you on. The next caller is John from Smithtown.
Hey, how are you?
I'm doing well. How are you?
Doing well. I was wondering why you think it's okay to spend $265,000 of taxpayer money on postage. Why is that okay for you to do that? Why is it okay for you to spend $265,000 of our money on postage to brag about yourself?
Okay, and you're in Smithtown. You're in Smithtown, so you're actually not in my Senate district. So you actually shouldn't be getting any mail at all. All the mail that you've got that anyone in Smithtown has gotten from us has been paid for with campaign funds. So I guess I understand that you're in Smithtown. So I'm not sure. Maybe that question should get directed at someone else who represents you there in your area. Okay, next call is Marita.
Yes, Senator Zeldin. My name is Marita Morello, and I am a civic leader for the Focus East Patchogue Civic Group. And
know you. Okay, how are you?
Thank you. But I am so upset when I see on TV how supposedly you supported Obamacare. Plus, it just so much disturbs me because I'm thinking to myself, I said, I never thought you did.
Well, here's the great news. I didn't. Thanks for the question. That's one of the reasons why we're having a Tele-Town hall tonight. I've never supported Obamacare. I never will. You can't believe everything that you see on TV, especially when it's paid for by your opponent. But the fact of the matter is, I've never supported Obamacare. We created a one-pager. If anyone out there wants to have any information about it, and you want to go to zeldinforcongress.com/ObamacareFacts, and it will explain a little bit about the issue. But one of the worst things in politics is that when some people have nothing negative to say about you, they just make things up. Some people say, well, what about Senate Bill so-and-so that George Demos says, funded Obamacare in New York State? The U.S. Congress funded Obamacare, not the New York State legislature. And we can actually pass a law. Now, Obamacare is in all 50 states, including the most conservative Republican states in the entire country, like Oklahoma, Texas, South Carolina. Obamacare is in all 50 states. We can actually pass a law in Albany that says under no circumstances whatsoever do we approve of Obamacare in the state of New York. And guess what? We'd still have Obamacare because it's a federal law. Congress passed it, the president signed it, the Supreme Court upheld it. It's kind of unfortunate that this campaign that's getting run against us is kind of trying to take advantage of people who may not yet know the facts. And, all I could do is tell you, I've never supported Obamacare. I never will. The content that's being put out on the other side is just not true. You can call our office at 631-569-4848. And that's our campaign headquarters. And, if you have any questions, you can also email us at info@zeldinforcongress.com. We have multiple campaign offices, one in Center Reach, one in Center Riches, one in Smithtown, one in Riverhead. We're on Facebook at Lee M. Zeldin, Lee M. as in Michael, Zeldin, and Twitter at Lee Zeldin. If anyone is interested in volunteering, I ask you to press 1, and we'd love to have your help. We're just talking about these negative, dishonest campaign attacks against us that are entirely false, and we need your help to set the record straight. So if you press 1 and you're willing to volunteer, really could use your help with the campaign. And again, anyone has any questions, just hit *3, and we'll be able to bring you. We'll be able to bring you on. Next call is Rita.
Yes, hi, Lee. I was wondering, where are the jobs, or what kind of jobs are they going to be for young people? I was pretty much a single parent since my son was 2, and I worked 70 hours a week. I didn't, I don't believe in getting free cheese, okay? And I put him through Catholic grammar school, Catholic high school, and 4 years of college. I worked my tail off. I wasn't cut from the cloth where, you take. I was taught to give, And, my son's 34 going on 35, and he can't find a decent job with benefits. And he's extremely intelligent, and it's just so disappointing to me. I just, and then I look at Ballone and the Democrats. He said he took a 10% pay cut, but he failed to say he gave his wife an $83,000 county job. He had a friend that told him to change to an independent. So, I want to know what the Republicans are going to do to bring jobs to the young people so they can stay here. Because it just seems like, I have a feeling if you're a Republican, you can't get a job. I don't know if that's true, but,
I would say a few things on that. Obviously, all across the country, there's been a huge problem with unemployment. On Long Island, we face the increased challenge of underemployment, people not making enough money to make ends meet. So they go out and work a second job, a third job. You might have a spouse, family that you're, unfortunately rarely seeing because you're so busy working. So it's not just about finding a job, but finding a good paying job. And that's, a lot of people, I see it in Albany, where legislators from upstate think that we're all rich here on Long Island because they see what the average income is, but they're not factoring in how high the cost of living is. Now, there are a lot of reasons why the business climate is, in New York State, we're ranked 50 out of 50, the worst business climate in the entire country. We have the highest corporate and individual marginal income tax rates in the entire country. Our energy costs, property taxes, and this is at different levels of government, the costs all add up. Regulations, you see coming down from the federal government, even the way that our tax policy is crafted where, some people who are very successful aren't paying any taxes at all, while others making significantly less are really struggling to make ends meet. I think the culture really needs to improve here on Long Island. There are other states putting together very generous offers, packages to lure our businesses off of Long Island to move to their states. And some of these CEOs have complained to me, I've called Albany, I can't even get a return phone call. Down in Washington, I think that just the regulation, the bureaucracy, the inconsistency in our tax code, there's a lot of policies from different levels of government that adversely impact our business climate, that end up increasing the cost to do business. Obamacare is another example where employers are now trying to decide what to do with this increased bill for premiums to provide their employees. So employees now are paying more and getting less as a result of Obamacare. So that's just another example. And as part of Obamacare, there were taxes that went up on businesses. So on many different fronts, we have various policies coming out of Washington and Albany and locally that make it difficult to stay in business. I mentioned property taxes. Meanwhile, 65-70% of those taxes are actually school taxes. So that's a very local form of government. So there's a lot that goes into it. But I appreciate your question. We definitely need to do more to create good paying jobs here on Long Island. And again, anyone has any questions, please hit *3, and we'd be happy to bring you on. And again, anyone interested in volunteering, just hit 1. We definitely can use your help with this campaign. And we're going to bring on Morgan. Morgan, what's your question?
Hey, how's it going? Recently, I have been forced to take Obamacare by my boss. It was either you cannot work here or you have to take this. And now that I'm looking at my paychecks, they're taking out, more than I'm willing to be happy about them taking out. So I feel like I'm stuck, with something I don't want to pay for at my job, but I have to stay at the job. So, what are your thoughts on that?
Well, I'm hearing a ton of different stories like this. The fact is that, right now, in many respects, this is both a policy and governmental debate, and it's also a political debate. Right now we have, a Democratic president, Democratic-controlled Senate, and a Republican-controlled House. The Republicans, as we all know, have passed literally dozens of repeal bills. Meanwhile, the president and the Senate, not only are they refusing to consider any of those bills, but the president has, dozens of executive orders to basically circumvent his own signature law going around Congress, which is wrong. There are so many different aspects of Obamacare that leads me to have the position that we need to repeal it. So the answer from someone like me is that we need to repeal it. Now, I believe that we should be providing that you should have affordable, accessible health care. I think that we can do that by fostering more competition in the private marketplace, which is more of a conservative, more of a Republican proposal than a Democratic proposal. But that's why elections have consequences and November matters, because, my answer to you, my solutions to you, as far as what we can do about the different employer mandates, the way it's impacting hours and lost jobs, I personally believe that we have to gain control, not only keep control of the House, but also gain control of the Senate as well. But I appreciate your question. And again, anyone have any questions? Just hit *3. We'll be able to bring you on the phone. And and again, anyone willing to volunteer, just please press 1, and we'll be able to bring you on. Next call is Howard.
Yes, Lee, I'm all for you, but you really have to clarify the ads that Demos is putting on TV every night. He's got all this money to spend. And what he's saying is, and I think I can understand what he's saying, you didn't vote for the federal Obamacare, but you did vote for Obamacare in New York, he's saying. Now,
well, that's what he's saying. It's actually 100% untrue, and I appreciate your question. Just a little going back a little bit further in history, a little earlier in the call, I guess I went through a little bit of it. Back in 2012, the beginning of 2012, there was actually a bill to create a state exchange in Albany. And the Senate Republicans blocked the bill. We refused to bring the bill to the floor for a vote. So the state exchange in New York was created unilaterally via executive order by Governor Cuomo in April of 2012. It's really well documented in a lot of the stories, including Newsday, even the New York Times. A lot of these outlets reported that the reason why Governor Cuomo was creating a state exchange unilaterally via executive order was because the Senate Republicans blocked the bill. That's how a state exchange was created in New York. Now, something else that's very interesting is that they're saying, our opponents are saying that we voted to fund the exchange, and very interesting, kind of disgusting part of the entire argument is that if I vote no, and let's just say the budget bill fails, that money still gets spent on Obamacare in New York. So you say you voted for Senate Bill so-and-so that funds the exchange in New York. That's just 100% untrue. We, in the state budget, we account for about $48 billion of federal funds that get spent in New York State. So they're looking at this accounting of funds getting spent in New York, making it sound like we wouldn't have Obamacare if we would just vote no. That is absolutely 100% entirely false. The budget could fail, and that money still gets spent on Obamacare in New York. Now, I had those ads first launched against us on January 27th. And, we had supporters contacting us right away who said, we have to go on TV every time that there's one of his ads. You need to put one of your ads up. And I said, yeah, that sounds great. I am all for your idea. If you want to adopt me and give me $2 million to run those ads, I'd be happy to launch those ads tomorrow. But it costs a lot of money. We're on TV now, and the other thing too is like this Tele-Town hall tonight. There are a lot of other ways to communicate with voters, and each and every one of you on this call, by the way, thank you for taking time right now to be on this call, to ask me these questions, to be able to have this dialogue. I've been out knocking on doors. We have we have volunteers making calls. We send emails. You could sign up for email updates at zeldinforcongress.com. We're on social media, Facebook at Lee M. Zeldin, or even on Twitter at Lee Zeldin. There are a lot of ways to stay in touch with us. We've been doing mail pieces. We have a TV ad out, a radio ad out. All of them say, it says, I've never supported Obamacare, I never will. And it really that's just as simple as, you can really boil it down to 6 words, to sum up all these attack ads that are just disgusting. They're not saying it because it's true. They're saying it because it polls well. But, thanks again for your question. I really appreciate it. And, again, anyone has any questions, hit *3. There are a lot of issues that we're focused on down in Washington. Repealing and replacing Obamacare is certainly one. There are a lot of proposals that conservative Republicans have put forth in both the House and the Senate that are being considered to replace Obamacare. It's important that we don't just say we want to repeal it. We don't just oppose everything. That we come to the table with our own solutions. And in the Senate, Senator Tom Coburn is one of 3 Republican senators who put forth a bill there. There are several different bills on the House side. One from the Republican Study Committee. There was a bill from Congressman Poe, who's a doctor, Congressman Price, who's a doctor. So we're putting out, you're seeing a lot of solutions down in Washington. I think it's very important that we not only say that we're repealing it, but we also have ideas. There are other issues as well down in Washington that we need to be focused on. Our national debt continues to increase, $17 trillion. What's next? 18, 20? When's enough? We really have to have the intestinal fortitude as elected officials to be able to make tough decisions that might cost you votes in your next election. And I think you have too many on the Republican side and the Democratic side who they value their positions, their chairmanships, their power, their perks so much that they kick the can down the road with regards to budgets and deficits and debts. And as a result of it, that is truly lacking compassion and caring, because we have that next generation of Americans. My daughters are 7 years old, and what they are inheriting, their generation is inheriting, because we have elected officials without courage to make tough decisions, is so wrong. On the foreign policy front, we see it in Iran and Russia. The need to have more consistency with the president's foreign policy. What he tells us with regards to the Iran deal, for example, the Iranian president, they immediately start refuting it. It's just not accurate. I don't think it's a coincidence that just days after the president reduces our military troop strength to the lowest level in 74 years, that Putin is emboldened to go into the Ukraine. Meanwhile, our strong allies in the world, our strongest allies like Israel, our relationships with them are getting fractured. We have managed to get Israel and Saudi Arabia both upset with us. And the president is so out of touch. When he talks about peace in Israel, he talks about trying to get a permanent peace. When people who live in Israel are just trying to get a temporary peace to get themselves to the next time that they're negotiating a peace treaty. And if any of you remember from October of 2012, there was a debate between President Obama and Mitt Romney, where President Obama was mocking Mitt Romney about Romney saying that Russia was our largest geopolitical threat in the entire world. And Obama was saying, the 1980s are calling, they want their foreign policy back. and it was disgusting, and he was scoring votes out of it, and it's wrong. So I really think that on so many fronts, domestic, abroad, that there's a lot that we can be doing better. It's not just all about Obamacare, although it's certainly a top issue, and it will be a top issue in this particular campaign. Again, anyone with any questions, hit *3, and we would be happy to bring you on. And anyone willing to volunteer, just want to press 1, and we'd love to have your support. And next call is going to be Joe from Quorum.
Good evening, Senator Zeldin.
Hi, Joe.
Hi, how you doing, Senator Zeldin? I have a question. I know your opponent has just been focusing on this Obamacare, and he seems to be like just a one-issue, candidate. And I know that you have other, issues that you have been, you put on your website, and I'd like to know if you could speak briefly about your jobs plan.
Yeah, well, so there's a lot that goes into it. For one, just generally speaking, with regards to our tax policy, with regards to our regulations, the way that we are managing debt and deficits with budgets, just on a broad scale, Washington has been totally irresponsible, which has effects on our economy, our markets, our strength around the world, and just on a broad level, all of that is important. But then you go down to specific areas, specific ideas that all can create jobs that can boost our economy. We see the debate whether it's the Keystone pipeline and all the jobs that would be created as a result of that. With energy policy and the fact that we have resources right here in our own country that are going untapped, and meanwhile we are relying on nations of countries who don't like us. And I think that we can be smarter. There's a lot of NIMBYism. People say not in my backyard. And meanwhile, when we lose, Harry Levinson Associates in Farmingdale, which we haven't lost yet, hopefully we don't, because they pay $100,000, a month on their energy costs. There's a lot of ways to get cheaper power. It's really all about reducing the cost to do business. If you want to create jobs, and one of the things that we did up in Albany, I was proud to lead the fight to repeal the MTA payroll tax, and we eliminated it for 34,000 employers in Suffolk County alone. And any little bit that we can do, if reducing a tax, there were some taxes related to businesses that we actually reduced in this year's state budget. Hasn't gotten a lot of press, hasn't gotten just about any press, but just every little bit that we can do helps. So, on a federal level, whether it's, a debate with regards to the Keystone pipeline, as an example, and tapping into our own resources that we have on federal lands all throughout our country, specifically, in Colorado and the areas around there, or at the state or local level, there's a lot more that we can do. And the other thing, too, is one of my pet peeves with regards to regulations is that you have individuals who will work for an agency who have a very little bit, and many of them are doing, maybe doing an amazing job, but you get these people who in their little cubicle, in their world, they are always, testing their power out. And, we've seen it where, a charter fishing boat is coming back to shore, and you have the DEC police maybe boarding the boat as if, they think that they're, a Navy SEAL SWAT team, so that they can find one box that's not checked on a form, and they're finding them for $500, and they're walking away pounding their chest. There really is a lot within our regulatory scheme that impacts businesses very negatively, and it keeps them from expanding. But I could go on and on about that question specifically. There's a lot to talk about. Jobs is very important. Creating jobs. If you want to pay your bills and not get foreclosed on or default on your credit cards and provide for your family and maintain a standard of living, it's just incredibly important that we do whatever we can to create more jobs. Next caller is Marie.
Hi, Lee.
Hi, Marie.
How you doing? My question was regarding the New York SAFE Act, and how furious we all were about it, and we know that you voted against it. We were very disappointed in Senator Flanagan, because I do believe he voted for it. But seeing what happened in Connecticut with the registration, is that anywhere looming for us with the New York SAFE Act?
I've actually I follow this issue closely, and not only did I oppose the bill to create the SAFE Act, I put out a public statement during the vote, which you can find on the internet. But I also co-sponsor the bill to repeal it. I believe that the SAFE Act is unconstitutional. I believe that with regards to the way that quote unquote assault weapons is defined, I actually don't think the SAFE Act makes us safer. I think it makes us less safe. And one of the things that we saw in the D.C. versus Heller decision from the U.S. Supreme Court is that the D.C. handgun ban was overturned because D.C. was banning an entire classification of firearms commonly used by law-abiding citizens, and that was unconstitutional. Here in New York, assault weapons may sound very scary, but the way they define assault weapon is kind of bizarre, because you take a rifle and you put a pistol grip on it. That doesn't make it more dangerous. If you have a muzzle compressor, flash suppressor, you put one of these features on it, all of a sudden it becomes an assault weapon, and it's banned. The other thing there's a lot of things that are concerning. Having people register, registering firearms, beyond the rules that we have set in place already, makes me a little bit nervous about the intent of some of the people pushing it. I think for some politicians who put forth some of these gun control laws, they try to tap into the political benefit from, if you're able to take advantage of the emotions coming out of a mass incident, and all of a sudden, for a brief moment in time, people are in favor of, increasing gun control. They know that they need to strike while it's hot because emotions die down, and the SAFE Act was not properly vetted. It was passed very quickly, and I wish it went a little bit differently, and I strongly oppose it. But the other thing I want to mention was the 7-round limit. If you are at home and you have chosen to protect your family with a firearm, which is your right, and 2 armed intruders come in your home, it's 2 o'clock in the morning, you're sleeping, it's dark, you are already at an unfair advantage. And I guarantee that those 2 armed intruders don't care about a 7-round clip limit. So you already at a disadvantage with a 10-round limit. Now you're down to 7. Now a U.S. District Court out in Buffalo ruled that part was unconstitutional. I'm hoping that more of the SAFE Act is overturned as it goes to the U.S. Court of Appeals and ultimately to the Supreme Court. So I appreciate your question. It's something that I follow very closely, and I would like to thank you for your call tonight. And I'm going to bring in David from Watermill. David.
Hi, Lee.
Hi, David.
I met you a couple of years ago when you were running against the Pelosi Patsy the first time, and I just wanted to know why it took so long for you to respond to George Demos's accusations about Obamacare.
It took us about 40 minutes on January 27th. One of the advantages that he has over us is that one of the great things about marrying Paul Pelosi's business partner is that came with millions of dollars. If you remember, he actually started launching TV ads at the beginning of December. So, this guy spent $1 million on TV and radio before, we were able to spend our first dollar on TV and radio. But as far as, responding, so on January 27th, when they launched their attack, we put out a press release instantly. We emailed it out for folks who are on our email list. We posted on social media. There's some some news stories for whoever decided to cover it. They got our press release and the word of mouth. I mean, we had phone banking started at the beginning of February. Folks started going door to door at the beginning of March. I would encourage you. I'd ask you if it's okay, David, if you wouldn't mind signing up for email updates at zeldinforcongress.com, just so you could get this stuff really in real time. But yeah, as far as responding goes, that was instant because it was 100% untrue. We literally put out a statement pushing back within minutes of it. But I thank you for your call and being on and asking your question. And it's just a very interesting component of these campaigns. There's so many different ways to connect with people. Some folks are on social media, others aren't. Some people may be on our email list, others aren't. And there's other people who spend a lot of time watching Fox News, which is great. Unfortunately, in between actual news, you might get some commercials where it's just 100% bold-faced lies. And fortunately for us, we're on TV now, but we're not going to get suckered into just talking about this one issue, defending ourselves. I mean, our new TV ad says, I've never supported Obamacare, I never will. But in a 30-second ad, we're not going to spend 30 seconds just talking about this one issue. That's what the opposition wants. That's their plan. And there's a lot that we want to talk about, and we can get it out in we try our best to get out in 30 seconds, but that, fortunately for us, we can push back on the Obamacare piece in simply 6 words. I've never supported Obamacare and never will. Anyone who has any questions, just dial *3. We'll be able to bring you on, and our next caller is Phyllis.
Good evening. Good evening, Mr. Zeldin. One, I want to thank you for your service. 2, I'd like to say, is there a plan that the Republican Party, the voter turnout in most elections is really pathetic. What can the Republican Party do to encourage party voters to get out and vote? It's okay.
Yeah, so one of the advantages that we have is that so we have split primaries now in New York. So the federal primary is June 24th. The primary for state and local races will be in September, or at least that's how it's set as of right now. So the petition process for the state and local races will be in June. So, there will be hundreds of committee people, Republican committee people, who will be in the street those last few weeks leading up to June 24th, collecting petitions for the state and local candidates, but also helping to get out the vote. It's important that we all, not obviously we all vote, but also we encourage the people who we know to get out and vote as well. And there really isn't any single person out there who's part of, let's say, the Republican Party who's capable of turning everyone out. But if our party grows stronger and more people become committeemen, more people get involved, and anyway, by the way, anyone who wants to volunteer, just press 1. If you want to get involved in our campaign, we can really use your help. But getting back to the Republican Party, having more people step up and get involved, talking to your neighbors, and turning folks out to vote is going to be important. But the advantage for us right now is that the petition process will be in June, and the state and local candidates and their petition process will help us in turning out the vote for June 24th. But I really need everyone's help on the call. And again, anyone willing to volunteer, please press 1. And again, anyone with any questions, hit *3. I know we have a lot of questions. We're trying our best to get to everyone. The next one is James. Hello, James.
Hi, I wanted to know if you support the Ryan budget.
If I support the Ryan budget, yeah. The budget that the congressman just put out is something that I'm going to spend a lot of time looking through and getting smart on. I'm sure that there will be components of it that I will like, that I will love, and that there will be other components of it that I may have some concerns about. But I'm not one of those guys who will ever, whether it's a Republican or a Democrat, blindly endorse any proposal coming out of the gate. The one thing I know for sure is that I am sure that the congressman and his staff probably spent thousands of hours, if not tens of thousands of hours, preparing the budget. So I'm not, I certainly would, expect it to come with, a lot of manpower, a lot of hours put into developing it. But yeah, I'm not prepared to blindly, endorse any type of a budget proposal right out of the gate before I have the opportunity to read it. But I appreciate your question with regards to the Ryan budget, and I also look forward to reading what the Democratic alternative is, because one of the things that I hate seeing is that when someone out there wants to criticize a proposal and not offer up their own solutions and say, that they want to oppose the Ryan budget because A, B, and C, want to scare seniors because if there's something in the Ryan budget that is going to modernize some type of a program impacting me. I'm 34 years old, impacting me decades away from retirement, and someone wants to kind of fall back on some knee-jerk sound bites to try to scare seniors about how that proposal is going to somehow impact their benefits and put a senior out on the street. Those kind of scare tactics are reprehensible. And that's not something that I like to see. So anyone out there who wants to be critical of either the Ryan budget or any Democratic alternative, I want to make sure that anyone who's critical is, has a solution. That's incredibly important. But I appreciate your question. The next call is Lynn.
Hello, Mr. Zeldin.
Hey, Lynn.
Hello. I've noticed that throughout this entire campaign that you haven't played any dirty games to discredit anyone from the opponent team of politics, and it's refreshing to see, because one of the things that always turned me off was to see so many people saying such negativity against another party that is untrue, which is what happened to you. And I'm wondering if you can survive politics, being that you're being so that you have so much integrity. So from that statement, do you think you'll be able to survive with so many people attacking you this way?
So I appreciate your question, Lynn. And I'm a sitting state senator, elected in 2010, reelected in 2012. I'm proud of. We ran for Congress in 2008, came up short. I'm proud of every campaign that we ran, because we run our campaigns with honor and integrity, and we've won. When I came into that Senate race in 2010, we were down by over 30 points. We ended up winning by about 16. And our opponents, and that was a multi-million-dollar race, millions of dollars getting spent on both sides, and our opponents were trying to throw every single thing up against the wall to see what stuck. And they, anyone asks, have you ever been vetted? I have a top secret clearance from the United States military. No vetting process in any campaign, I'm sure, will be that intrusive as that particular investigation before they gave me my top secret clearance. But I'll tell you that campaign back in 2010, gosh, they were making all sorts of stuff up against us, and we just focused in on the issues, have faith in the voters, to get out and vote and make an informed decision. And one of the things that you'll see when a particular candidate or campaign zeroes in on a specific negative attack and they get obsessed over it and they have nothing else that they're talking about, it's usually because they have nothing else to talk about. And for us, it would be a shame if we were to play along and get involved in just obsessing over some type of a negative attack over our opponent and not talking about, I'm proud of my time in the service, and I want voters to know that here's an opportunity where, 40 years ago, 75% of Congress were military veterans. Now it's 1 out of 5. I want to go down to Washington and fight for our veterans. Not being able to talk about that because we're so obsessed with negative, dishonest attacks against an opponent would be unfortunate. My time up in the Senate, especially while we have an opponent trying to distort my record, I'm proud of. because I made promises when I ran for office, and I said if I was elected, I will fight as hard as I can to repeal the MTA payroll tax. I will fight as hard as I can to eliminate the saltwater fishing license fee. And I will fight for our veterans with post-traumatic stress disorder. I'll fight to do something about our property taxes, which, the increases have been unsustainable. And I'm just proud that once we got there, and really it was, in our first year was a huge success where we repealed the MTA payroll tax for 80% of employers, eliminated saltwater fishing license fee. It was my second year that we created the PFC Joseph Dwyer program for our vets with PTSD. It would be a shame for us to instead obsess over negative attacks over opponent rather than talking about the good stuff in the record where I made shown it. When I make a promise or a commitment to do something that I follow through, that's something I obsess over. I obsess over following through on those commitments. And it would also be unfortunate if we weren't talking about policies in Washington, about ending the dysfunction, about putting a check on this president who, if his last 2 years in office were spent with Democratic control of the House or Senate, God help all of us with his agenda. He needs a check. We need to actually gain control of the Senate, because what we're seeing right now is that Republicans in the House are bringing up solutions, good solutions. The president whispers into Harry Reid's ear. Harry Reid makes an announcement that great solution, he won't acknowledge it as great, but that particular bill is dead on arrival in the Senate. The mainstream media then picks up on it and tries to throw cold water on any good idea that we come up with. Meanwhile, if we keep control of the House and expand the majority, hopefully, and gain control of the United States Senate, now every single good idea that we've been passing in the House will be on the president's desk for him to either pass it or to sign it or to veto it. But again, just echoing that point as well, it is so incredibly important for us to use this as an opportunity to campaign on the issues that matter to people who care about their high taxes, the high cost of living, the need to create more jobs, the desire. I have a strong desire to stop Common Core and improve the quality of education in our schools, to protect our freedoms and liberties, which have been attacked, for example, with the New York SAFE Act. Fighting for our military and for our sportsmen, repealing Obamacare, and fighting for better solutions that foster more competition in the private marketplace. That's what this campaign is about, and I'm not going to let anyone take away our integrity. That's the way that I lived in the military. For any of you out there who, if you're on the internet and you haven't seen it, I had a really cool honor of speaking at CPAC on the main stage about a month ago. If you go onto YouTube and in the search engine you type in Zeldin and CPAC, you'll have a chance to watch my speech down there, which really hit on this theme of this last question, which I appreciate you asking. But I encourage you. It was really cool. They recognized me as one of 10 rising conservative stars in American politics. That was the American Conservative Union. They gave me this invite, and actually just this afternoon, a couple hours ago, the Conservative Party officially nominated us as their candidate for the ballot in November. Okay, so anyone have any questions at all? Actually, we have time for one more question. And again, please stay in touch with us before we bring the last question on. You can email us at info@zeldinforcongress.com. You can visit us. Our website is zeldinforcongress.com. We have headquarters in Center Reach, Center Moriches, Riverhead, and Smithtown. We're on Facebook at Lee M. Zeldin. We are on Twitter at Lee Zeldin. And actually, I gave you a phone number earlier, and that's a good number. I'm going to give you another one for our main office, our main campaign office, 467-2483. Our volunteer coordinator is Vincent Belfiore. His email address is vincent@zeldinforcongress.com. His direct line is 631-569-4848. We need help for people walking, for phone banking, for data entry. I need your help to join our team. You can volunteer by pressing 1. And and again, if we didn't get to your question tonight, you could stay on. You could leave a message, and we'll be able to get back to you. So please, if I don't get to you right now, just stay on, leave a message, and we'll be able to call you back. Our last question is from Debbie.
Yes, hello.
Hi, Debbie.
Hi, how are you?
I'm good. Thanks for participating in our call tonight. What's your question?
Well, number one, I would definitely like to get involved in your campaign. If you could tell me how I could do that, that would be great. And number two, with this Obamacare and the money coming out of people's paychecks, especially the disabled, I mean, I work in a food pantry, I volunteer there, and we have never had so many people come to the food pantry as they are coming now, and they are all saying it's because, they used to take, $42 out of my check. Now they're taking $160 out of my paycheck for this Obamacare, and they are now literally lined up around the block.
Well, first off, I'm sorry to hear what you're going through. We're hearing a lot of stories. We had a call earlier who was an employee, and he's receiving an ultimatum from his boss. We've heard stories of cancer patients in December facing policies in the middle of cancer treatments, people losing their doctors, seeing their premiums going up, seeing their deductibles go up. Meanwhile, on the congressman's website, it still says that you can keep your doctor, you can keep your policies. You have people who continue to defend it. And I also appreciate your offer to volunteer. And if you wouldn't mind calling us, it's 467, it's a 631, 467-2483. That's our headquarters in Center H, where we're actually doing the call out of tonight. As far as Obamacare and the folks who are disabled, who are used to seeing their doctors, we had a lot of stories of people who are facing a challenge that, as a result of Obamacare, they're seeing these whammies of sometimes it's a combination of a few different things, of having premiums going up, deductibles going up, losing their doctors, losing their policies, hours are getting reduced at work, people are losing their jobs. You have employers that might have some employer out there who's faced with a $50,000 bill that they're passing off to their employees. So now their employees are paying more and getting less as a result of it. There are a lot of challenges. There are also a lot of new taxes, and you're seeing that on your paycheck. A lot of people are seeing the cost of Obamacare. It was supposed to be self-sustaining. Several $100 million cut from Medicare, which is something that we haven't spoken about. The supporters of Obamacare, they always trying to scare seniors about cutting Medicare. Meanwhile, Obamacare itself cut several $100 million out of Medicare, and that's wrong. So, and the other thing too is they didn't read their own bills, so they criticize us and say you guys don't have any solutions. Well, and again, for anyone who has a chance to watch the CPAC speech, I mentioned it there. I'll say it again now. They didn't read their own bills, so I guess how can we expect them to read any of our bills? We have solutions. We're coming to this campaign prepared, but I need everyone's help on the call. I appreciate all of you participating on a Tuesday evening, short notice, no notice for some, but you're on, you asked your questions, you participated. Please press 1 if you're willing to volunteer. Stay in touch. Thank you again, and have a great night. The primary is June 24th. I need all of you out there supporting us. If you're going to support the other guy, then you could come out on June 25th. But for our supporters, I'm just kidding. For our supporters, you come out on June 24th. We need your help. We need you to talk to your friends, talk to your family, and we can change Washington only by changing the people we send there. And that really is going to be in November 4th. But I'll be on the ballot June 24th. Hopefully, when we win, we'll have a chance to change our congressman and hopefully send a message here in our corner of America on November 4th. Thank you again, and we'll talk to you soon.